Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, and welcome to this episode of Punk Shui. This is a show where I talk about great original melodic punk bands from the late 70s through the early 80s. Lots of great artists out there, but this episode I'm going to focus on Scotland's first punk band, and they went by the name of the Rezillos. Now, they did have kind of a long career, and I will cover that, but I'm going to try to make this as concise and short and as condensed as possible so I can get to the music and you can hear what it sounds like. Remember, not all punk is the same. So if you're thinking this is going to sound like Fear or Black Flag or Agnostic Front, it's not going to. Each of the bands I talk about have their own unique sound. Now, the Rezillos formed in 1976. The duo that formed the band were vocalists Eugene Reynolds and Fay Fife. They stuck with the band through all different incarnations, and they are still together performing with the band. It's the other people that, went in and out of their ranks, but by the time they put out their first single in 1978, they were just on fire. This is a band that took the kitschy sound of the 50s and the 60s and then added this modern punk sound to it while staying true to the garage roots, staying true to the soul roots. I mean, this was a band that was just really just meshed a lot of things together, but they were having fun. It was fun music. Now, here's something that's really interesting. The main songwriter on that debut album was a gentleman by the name of Joe Callis, who, after the Rezillos split, he went off and he started writing songs for Human League. So their album Dare, that was mostly written by Joe Callis, who also wrote the first Rezillos album. If you haven't heard this album, it's going to blow your mind. It is clean, crispy, crunchy, clear, full of some of the most amazing bass playing. Now, it's hard to tell, you go to Wikipedia and you go to this website and that website, and, one place will say it's, William Mysterious playing bass on everything. Another place on the same page will say, William Mysterious only played on one song. Then you get Simon Templar, which is, William Mysterious and Simon Templar aren't their real names. But whoever plays bass on Can't Stand the Rezillos, which is their first album, is incredible. The speediest bassist and just hooks and it's just amazing. And that first album came out on Sire. So Sire was on a roll. They did Ramones and Talking Heads and tons of great bands, and they signed the Rezillos. Now, the album was released in the U.S. They didn't get a lot of buzz, but many, many, many years later, their song Somebody's Gonna Get Their Head Kicked In Tonight appeared, I think, in the first Jackass movie or on the Jackass TV series or something. So it gained new traction there. But this was a band that was just on fire. It was fun with Eugene and Faye right up front, and the outer space imagery and the 50s girl group meets garage rock. I mean, it was kind of like mixing the Cramps, the Undertones, and B-52s all into one ball and spitting it out. And Bob Clearmountain produced it, and it just is incredible. Actually, Bob Clearmountain is listed as producer along with Tony Bongiovi and Lance Quinn. I think Tony Bongiovi and Lance Quinn were supposed to produce the album, but Tony Bongiovi had to back out for some reason, I think illness, and Bob Clearmountain sort of came in and took over, and just the production and the musicianship is incredible. But the band announced they're breaking up, and they did a final tour. And their final show was a Homeland show, and that was released after their breakup as Mission Accomplished. Now, all that music, I've showed you the album covers here, but all that music that I just talked about by the Rezillos is brought together on this. This is called Flying Saucer Attack, the complete recordings 77 to 79. As the single versions of a couple songs that were on the first album. This is a great 2C collection. If you want the Rezillos, there is a domestic CD out called Can't Stand the Rezillos, which has both of these albums, but it's missing some of the other bonus tracks. So I recommend this. It came out on Cherry Red. It's really fantastic. But then they broke up, and then Faye and Eugene went on, and they formed a new band called the Revillos. And they took the sound of the Rezillos and they sort of stripped away a little bit of the punkiness, and they made it more kitschy, more fun. more outrageous in some ways. But it was real edgy. It still had that edgy punk. It didn't have that Bob Clear Mountain production, but it still had a really great sound. The songs were great. You can get the Revillos stuff in this box set here. It's called Stratoplay, the box set. And what this does, it contains the Revillos albums. Let me also tell you that you can get these albums separately. So this box set, it contains Rev Up, which is the Revillos' first album from 1980. And then in 1982, they recorded another album, but before they could even mix it, the tapes were stolen and released, I think, in France or maybe a couple of European countries. They didn't intend to release that mix of the album, but it got released. And I believe that that's what this is, Attack, and they've retitled it Attack 82. And this has bonus tracks as well. But then in the 90s, the band was able to go back and take those tapes and put them out the way they originally intended, and that was the album Attack, and that's the cover there. Now, the one in the box only contains Faye, but the one that originally came out on the Captain Oi label, they also have it where you can put Eugene's picture on the front as well. That was two versions of the band's official second album. And there was such a big hubbub in Japan that the band reunited, and they went and they toured and they released this Live in Japan album. And I never really talk about live albums, but there are 3 live albums in this box set. And I only listen to studio things, but this is really worth your while if you want to get Rev Up and both versions of Attack, because they are different mixes and they do have different songs on them as well. But that's not it. I've still got a little bit more here to talk about. The band, I believe, signed with EMI, and they released a couple singles in 83 and 84. And the album was shelved because the band were thinking like, well, the label's trying to turn us into more of a commercial pop thing. We don't want to go in that direction, so the band split. And they did eventually release a CD, actually, Captain Oi did, and it's called Jungle of Eyes. And this is pretty much what the album would have sounded like if it came out on EMI in 84. It's really, really great pop. It is. I love them when they're hard and edgy as the Rezillos, but I also love them when they're pop. I love Faye Fife's voice. She's just got a great voice. Bitten by a Love Bug is one of my favorite Revillos songs, and that is on here in 2 different versions, extended and 7-inch single. But this is a great pop album. But everyone knows them, of course, as being a punk band. And that's the thing, is like, bands grow, mature, they get older. Sometimes they stay in that punk rut because they know that that's what the audience wants, but sometimes that sort of hinders their creative growth. And I love it when a band will just continue to morph and change. The Clash did it, the Jam did it. Anyway, that's not it with the Revillos or the Rezillos, because there are 2 compilations that came out filled with like unreleased demos and mixes and live versions and stuff. And that's the first of the compilations, called From the Freezer, the Revillos. And then Compendium of Weird is another Revillos compilation of unreleased demos, tracks, mixes, etc. Now, in the early 2000s, Eugene and Faye and even Joe Callis got back together and toured as the Rezillos again. No longer the Revillos, but the Rezillos. And now Joe Callis has long since left again, but Eugene and Faye continue to tour as the Rezillos. And in 2018, they put out an album called Zero. And I have to admit, it doesn't really sound like the Rezillos. It sounds more like the Revillos. But it's the same, in my mind, the same thing. Just writing great pop songs with that punk edge, or writing great punk songs with that pop edge. I don't care how you look at it. Anyway, what I've done is I have put together a medley featuring snippets from each of the studio albums. I didn't put anything from the compilations, From the Freezer or Compendium of Weird. I just stuck with the actual albums. And it starts out with the Rezillos, including the album Zero, and then it goes into the Revillos. So you're going to be able to see how this band has evolved and changed over the years, but they've always remained fun, interesting, riveting, and just a great time. So sit back, relax, give this a listen, and I will see you on the other side.
Down on my baby for a pouting lips. Down on my baby for a curly hips. I love my
that's it. That's my overview of the Rezillos and the Revillos on this first episode of Punk Shui. I really appreciate you hanging out, watching the video, listening to the music. Hope this inspires you to check out the used bins or go online and purchase whatever. Just support physical products, support music, support your record stores, support the artists. Go to their website, whatever you want to do. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.